Good morning. We are in Rambam Matnos Aniyim. We are doing Perches Halacha Yud Aleph, and we're also going to get into a similar halachas negay in Hilchas Tefillah. So the Rambam tells us a very interesting halacha, which is rooted in a Gemara in Masechtas Bava Basra, that if the people raised money to build a shul and some came up, a mitzvah that they need to do, you can use that money. If they already bought the materials for the building, then they should not use that money only for pidyon shvuyim, to redeem captives, which is the greatest mitzvah around. Even if they brought the stones and they set it up and they prepared it, and they prepared everything to say everything is pidyon shvuyim alone. But if they built it and they finished it, v'gamru, banu v'gamru, that's a key word, then they should not, these are the words, lo yimkru as beis hakneses, they shouldn't sell the shul, el yigvu lepidyonim min hatzibur, they should go and raise money for pidyon shvuyim from the tzibur. And the Torah writes also, avilim banu, el chesdokas emeration and beis, avilim banu, if they built it, kvar, lo yimkru, they shouldn't sell. Now, what that means, lo yimkru, is a discussion in Halacha amongst the Perokim, and we're going to discuss it shortly. And that is whether it means don't sell, you're not allowed to sell, it's not going to be sold. I mean, don't sell or not allowed to sell. The Gemara could be read in various ways. Now, I want to step aside for a moment and come back to this. I don't want to wait. Let's bring the source. The Rambam in Hilchis, Rambam in Hilchis Tefillah, and Perik Yud Aleph, Halacha Aleph. First, he starts off and says, "Kol Mokim sheyesh be'asarim Yisrael." There are 10 Jews. Tzorich lahochin loy bayis. You have to prepare for him a house. She comes by the Tefillah. Now I don't know who's the him. B'chol eis Tefillah, they should be able to go in there at any time to daven. B'chol eis Tefillah, all times of daven. Mokim zeh nikra beis hakneses. This is called a beis hakneses. In other words, if reading this halacha, you would think that till now we have no idea what a beis hakneses is, right? Not so. And then he goes on that you can force people to do that. The people from the city. Okay, that's halacha aleph. Fast forward. Halacha yud aleph. But the knesiyas, but the medrashes, shecharvu, even though they were destroyed, the kedushas and eilim, they're still holy. Shenem abashimoisis migdasheicha. I will destroy your holy places, and they're still migdasheicha. They're still called holy. And then halacha yud, you do not break a basic knesset, break down a basic knesset, in order to build another one in its place. Why? Because maybe they'll won't end up building it. You don't even do that to one wall. First build a new one, then you can down the old one. Now all this is rooted in a Gemara Bava Basra of Gimel. The Gemara says, "I'm not Chizda, like Lister, Pshusa." The Gemara goes through all reason, and the Gemara goes on to this issue. What about if you raised money already? What do you care? You have the money. Maybe pidyon shvuyim will come up. That's the Gemara's answer. Then the Gemara says, if that's the case, now listen to this. This is the key. If you're worried about pidyon shuyim, even if they build it now also, it says, Dirte the inish loy mizvah. That person doesn't sell his home. So I might try to say, what is the Gemara saying? A person doesn't sell his home. So there are various approaches to this, and I don't want to get into all the details. And there's machlekes and Peskim, the Taz, and the Magen Avraham, and the Aruch HaShulchan has his view of it. And I'm going to just give you a synopsis of the different approaches to this Rambam. Approach number one. Now, the meaning of the Gemara, when the Gemara says dirte, the inshal, the person doesn't sell his home. Since it doesn't sell his home, you can't sell a shul. Can't make a shul worse than your home. And it would be a bezoin for the shul that to do it. So therefore it's usher. That's a reason to make it usher. Second possibility that the Mefarshim say is no, I'm not ushering. Say it's not right. Lo yimker, don't sell, but don't. Chas v'sholom, I only see you can't get money any other way. Sell. Third approach is who donates the money? The tzibur. And since it's not a derech to sell, the tzibur doesn't intend to let you sell, and therefore it's also. In other words, it's part of the intent of the donation. You can't change the donation if that was the intent. All right. Those are the three approaches. And again, it really would require a lot more discussion and the details of those approaches, but that's the basic concept, what exists amongst different svaras that exist out there. I would like to note a few things in the Rambam. Now, many of them have been already noted by others. Some are added by myself, but I want to, and I'm sure they may be found somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Number one, the question is asked, what does it mean, bonu v'gomru? Built and finished. What's the finish over the built? What's he coming to exclude? Why does he give us advice? Lo yimkeru ela yigvu l'pidyonim anatzim. And obviously, if you can't sell, you're going to have to raise the money. Is any mitzvah stuck? It's not the greatest mitzvah of all. So what's the big thing here? Now, the Aruch HaShulchan wants to bring a raya from here that the Rambam is telling you, don't sell because you can raise, but if you can't raise, you can sell. That's he wants to say pshat. Okay. I don't think it doesn't look like pshat. It doesn't seem that's what he's saying. It's like an afterthought. What is this? We said, first of all, he writes, call Markham like mice, to prepare a house. She comes by the tefillah. And this is called Beis HaKnesses. You should have written. Any guys that stand people believe prepare a Beis HaKnesses to go in. What's this bias? And it's called a Beis HaKnesses. You say Beis HaKnesses. Which you know what a Beis HaKnesses, and you can't tell me he's coming to teach you what a Beis HaKnesses is. Go back to Perokim, which we're going to talk about shortly. He talks at length about a Beis HaKnesses. He says that you must daven in a Beis HaKnesses. He doesn't tell you what a Beis HaKnesses is. We noted the lahochen loy bias. So what's the loy? To who? Lahochen lohem or lahochen bias? Just to say lahochen bias. What's loyal bias? And if it's loy, it should be lahem. It's for the people. And if you're telling me that we don't know what a Beis HaKnesses is still here, what did it mean before? It was mentioned many times. Why does he add, she comes by the tefillah b'chol eis tefillah? He should say, she comes by the tefillah. You got a house, you say, you prepare a house that you're going to go down. When? What, this is the halacha where he tells you when to go down? We mentioned that he brings in Halacha Yudal of the din of destruction of the Midrashes, that they're still holy. And then in Halacha Yud Beis, he tries the dinim of breaking down a basic Knesses, and from there on, talks about all these dinim of replacing a basic Knesses. Now, he should have heard about halachas of replacing a basic Knesses, and then talk about destruction of the basic Knesses. Now, the dinim of Chas v'Shalom if it's destroyed. All right, so let's go back to Perokim and Hilchos Tefillah. The Rambam talks about Tefillah b'tzibur, and he writes how important it is, and therefore a person should always make himself available and be part of the tzibur. Li'yispalel b'yochid kol zman she'yochel l'spalel tzibur. That's one part of the halacha. Now goes the second part of halacha, which is needs to be understood. Ula oilam yashkim odam v'yarev lebeis hakneses. Person should get up and end up the day at beis hakneses. She'ein tefillah nishmat b'chol eis elo lebeis hakneses. His tefillahs are not heard all the time, only the beis hakneses. And then he adds a line. Now this is what causes a little confusion. So here he puts together beis hakneses and tzibur. So because of that, many don't know what does the Rambam's shitta. Is there a mila beis hakneses by itself, or is it only a mila because of tzibur? Now in the Gemara in Brachas Davov, there's a famous Gemara Tanya Abba Ben Yom Noime Ein Tefillah Shalad Nashas El Beis Hakneses Shenem El Shmaya El Harina VeEl HaTefillah, which we know that phrase from Slichas before Rosh Hashanah, Matzah Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, the Shmaya El Harina VeEl HaTefillah. So b'makim Rina Shamtei Tefillah. And then the Gemara says that the was found in the Beis HaKnesses. So Rashi has Makom Rina bebeis hakneses. Sheshamayim Ratzi b'shiyus b'achas b'nis kalor. So again, it's not clear. What does it mean? So there are different approaches. The tzlach yesh l'stapik in a Makom Geirim, even if there's no tzibur, and if he came late, should he go into Shul? And he believes yes. That's what the Rambam is saying. So again, the Kesemish, they all go back and forth, but the end result is they believe that there's a mile in a Beis HaKnesses, davening in a Beis HaKnesses. So he says like this. Now the Rambam added a line to Abba Binyamin. Abba Binyamin said, Rambam had b'chol eis. So first you want to say that Tefillah HaTzibur is going to be good all over and all times. There's a special mile in a Beis HaKnesses, even if you're a yachid, and even if you're even at any time, you're going to be accepted. Mechaber talks about it, Alter Rebbe talks about it. Rambam says, Mishu be the Alter Rebbe writes, if somebody's in the city of Bananas, plays Baal and Sibir, Misbal B'Yachid, he should have in a shul. They should makim kavua miyuchad l'tfilas hatzibur, because it's a place that's miyuchad for tfilas hatzibur. Tfilas shalad mishmasha, and because the Abish is found there. Okay, so that's a shayla. What does the Rambam mean? And then the Kesemish wants to say that again, the whole ace is only going to be in the Beis HaKnesses. So in your home, if you're davening yechidus, yes, we b'shor shatzim b'spal. Beis HaKnesses b'chol ace. So I have a problem again. Why did the Rambam not start or put Perek Yud Aleph before Perek Ches? And tell us what is the greatness of the Beis HaKnesses. Tell us what a Beis HaKnesses is, and then talk about the mile of a Tefillah Beis HaKnesses without a minion. Okay, so I would like to suggest, and I think you can find similar ideas out there. And that is that there are two things about a Beis HaKnesses. Two dinim. One, the mile of tefillah. It's a place for davening. And then it's just a place for davening. It's a mokum miyuchet for davening. In other words, it's the place itself that's holy, and it's great. Forget about the davening. The davening is just the means what the place is made for. Now, there are many rayas and many halachas and Beis HaKnesses that learn from Beis HaMikdash. It's mashma that it's one. There's one gedder to them. Beis HaKnesses and Beis HaMikdash. This would fit very nicely with what he writes in Perek Aleph, Nilchas Tefillah. Tzorech lahochen lebayis shekonsu by the tefillah. You need a home for tefillah. You have to build. The chiyuv of the tzibur is to build a home for tefillah. It's not about davening now. That's Perek Ches. Perek Aleph is about building a home. This is similar to what he writes in Hilchas Beis Abchira. Mitzvahs es elasas bayis Lashem muchan liyas makrim be'akabas. Same idea. Lahochin muchan. Now the Rebbe's medayik, and in this Rambam, it's a little different than what everybody else thinks the Rambam is saying. Yes, the purpose of the Beis HaMikdash Kavanah, but that's not the binyan habayis. Binyan habayis is that you need a makom muchan. The Eibishter wants a place. Now, what kind of place? A place is muchan kavanah. Same thing. The Eibishter needs a place in your community. You have a community. The Eibishter wants a place. A place for what? For davening, obviously. Fucking kibbutz. You need a bayis Lashem. So based on that, the Rambam had no problem with the Beis HaKnesses. The Etzem Beis HaKnesses where you get together and daven, sure, that's a Beis HaKnesses. Here, the Chiddush is you're making a bias for the sake of davening. And listen by B'chaleis, which means even if there's no minion going in there. To go in there every time, maybe that b'chaleis, the same b'chaleis that he said before, any time b'chaleis tefillah, just to be able to go in there. And the chid, that's what he adds with zehu Beis HaKnesses. This is called the Beis HaKnesses. In other words, this is a real concept of Beis HaKnesses. The place itself is called the Beis HaKnesses. This is the place to go. This is the place of God. And that's why he says, live in this loy. What's the lashon of the Rambam is that 1 second, let me find the lashon again. The lashon of Rambam was the lashon of Rambam is live nice. Come on, loy bias. Loy is the Eibishter. Loy doesn't mean the person is going into daven. You need a house of God. You need a house of place for the Eibishter where you can come. That's called Beis HaKnesses. That's a Chiddush. That's the word Beis HaKnesses. A new type of Beis. It's not a Beis HaKnesses because you're there. It's a base because the Eibishter needs a place for you to be there. And you should be able to come in b'chaleis. And why b'chaleis? And the Rebbe writes, because the Eibush is found there. Okay, so now a lot falls into place. And that's why Bonu v'Gamu means it's muchan, it's ready to go. If it's not ready, you build the house, but it's not ready to move in yet. There's no furniture, there's no arcade, you bought it, you built it. It's not the idea of taking it down. It's because there's a bias for Hashem. That's what it's about. Perhaps to bring out this holiness of the Beis HaKnesses, even if you're not davening there. That's why before he brings the halachas, and we'll see soon how it ties in, to breaking down the shul to go build another one. He starts off telling you, Batek Nesias and Batek Charvu B'Gdosh and aim this because this is a Mokim Lashem and it can't be bottled, just like the Shchina in the Betela. This is holy. Are you not davening there anymore? That's not the word. It's a Mokim Muchen. A Mokim Muchen is a holy place for Hashem. Yeah. That's the word. Anyway, now, so perhaps that's the introduction to everything else. That is there's a always then of where's this learned from? The Gemara. That Migdash Ma'at is Eilabatak Nesias. It's a Migdash Ma'at. Oh, so the side of the Isser that you can't sell, perhaps the Rambam holds, has nothing to do with the other reasons we saw before. It's because you can't sell a Migdash Ma'at. It's holy. You can't give it away. You can't sell it. Obviously, there are halachas where you can take it off and be mevatel it and so on. But stamazay to sell, it doesn't matter. Mitzvah comes up, a great mitzvah. This is a holy place for Hashem. You need that. It's part of your achrayus in a community. To have a makom mucha on the tefillah. It's not because you prepared it, because you created a chaloi shem beis hakneses. V'zehu hanikra beis hakneses. This is a beis hakneses, even if you haven't walked into them yet. It's a bias Lashem. You don't sell the Beis Hamikdash for anything. And why does he stress tzibur? L'cheir was saying it's a place to go, and even though there was a chivat tzibur, you need a tzibur. Yeah, it's Army Yisrael the tzibur. It's a chivat tzibur, just like the Beis Hamikdash chivat tzibur. That's what Salvation writes. The Rabbi Yosha does. Salvation writes wants to say that svara. It's exactly. It fits very well with what we're saying. It has nothing to do with tefillah but tzibur. That's chivat tzibur. And without 10, there's no chiyuv to make a makamuchan l'tefillah. Could be that's what the Rambam adds. Telling you, you tzibur are required to have this. You can't use this for that. Go raise money. That's why he's telling you, dude. Don't take away your big deshmat for another chiyuv that you have. Go raise the money. Has nothing to do whether you could raise them. Now that's your chiyuv. Go ahead, figure it out. Sell your homes if you have to. But don't sell the makom of Davish there. It's a whole different word, this nekuda. Okay, anyway. Everybody have Zay gesund stark, Hatzlacha, Rabba, and Meflaga.